Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza Ann Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Biz Birthday Bash podcast. We have a very special guest with us today. Miranda Gaither of Chalk Designs by Me is going to be sharing all kinds of awesome info about how she runs her business with a product drop strategy. So Miranda is a Texas-based maker. She's no stranger to creativity and hands-on hustle. What started as a small-scale side gig organically evolved into what we all know as Chalk Designs by Me. Combining her love for hand lettering and woodworking, plus her educational marketing background, missed that word, y'all. Things naturally fell into place. This busy mama floor has tackled e-commerce and social media marketing and grown alongside many female small business owners, blazing a trail for mamas everywhere. Her original products, monthly and yearly milestone boards, back-to-school boards, classic and square name tags, and holiday shelfie signs help add magic to each holiday and every day in between. So, y'all, I am so excited to talk to Miranda. I discovered her on Instagram after we kind of worked with some party stylists together. And I was like, this girl is doing awesome things. So y'all are going to love hearing from her. And Miranda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Glad to connect with you ladies.
I know. This is just going to be super fun. And I love your little gift tag things. They are just the cutest things, or Easter baskets and Christmas. I'm just like, this is brilliant. She's absolutely a genius. So can you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you kind of got started in calligraphy and hand lettering?
Yes. I'm trying to think of dates. I probably should have written things down. That would be an organized guest. But I graduated with a degree in marketing. And what's crazy to me is that there was no social media. Like my education marketing background, there weren't social media classes, stuff like that. So anyways, I was marketing full-time in Dallas to law firms and had our first son. I made him a birthday board, and then our daughter was 8, and I made her a chalkboard calendar for her birthday. And then a couple of my friends wanted me to make those 2 items for them, and I started doing it on the side. And then I decided to open up an Etsy, but I just I needed a name right then because I'm like that. Like I just wanted to do it right away. And came up with the name on a whim. And it's one of those things now, like I can't change my business name, but had I really thought about it and thought about what this could turn into, like maybe I would have come up with something a little more creative. So I started doing that, and an influencer that I still work with asked me if I could make some kind of name tags for her kids' Easter baskets. And it got pretty crazy after that. Just working around holidays, adding in shelfie signs. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like it just kind of took off for you completely because you had people coming to you after seeing someone else buy your product or have your product. Can you tell me more too about what a party stylist is? I think Cami used that term earlier, and I've never really heard that before.
So 2 of the girls that I work with is House of Fete. It's Marissa and Kelsey, Ambush with Boys and Kelsey Kloss on Instagram. So they style parties with a bunch of different vendors that they work with and take really lovely photos to use. I don't know.
We just got some back.
Yes. So
yeah.
pretty.
I mean, party stylists are just like an interior decorator, but for parties.
Yes. So they're for hire, and then they also do styled parties.
Interesting. Okay. I feel like a world is being opened up to me that I don't know very much about.
Yeah, the party goods space is up and coming and happening for sure. I really loved having some products in there, and that's how we kind of got connected. So I feel like once you get in with that, it can really help your business kind of take off.
Yeah, very, very cool. So Miranda, are you doing everything yourself, from sanding, staining, lettering, and all of that?
Okay, so full disclosure, this Easter was the first time that I actually did pay for help on that. I have always done it all myself. which is pretty crazy. After Christmas, the sanding, which you girls know because you hand letter, just the lettering itself is very taxing, on our hands. And so I found that I always was cutting everything and painting and sanding, and that repetitive movement of the sander just on my hand for hours. I think it was like 3 days total for sanding everything for Christmas. I was like carpal tunnel. My hands started hurting. It started hurting lettering, and then when you think about hiring your workout, it's kind of scary because it's my baby, this business is my baby. And I feel like any woman or any person that's capable of helping me, like what's to say that they're not going to take my products and make their own, So it's one of those things, like you really have to find someone that you trust when you're hiring help. And I reached out to a friend of mine who used to be one of my neighbors and just asked her, she is a builder. She builds a lot of cabinets and stuff, and just asked her if she had time to help. And her response was the best thing ever because she said that she had a crew, and in between jobs, they would have some downtime. So she thought that I just needed help with sanding. Anyways, I wanted her to cut them for me. And when I got to her house, I found out that it was her sister and a friend. So it was 3 girls, and I'm all about empowering women. And so I was like, this is even better that I could pay for help, but that it could be, other females helping me. So it ended up really being a blessing because we had the Texas storm, the winter storm. And had I not paid for help this time around, I would have been, it would have been a really big issue for my Easter drop. So yeah, I have always done it all myself. And for some crazy reason, this Easter, I decided to hire help. And it was really a huge blessing that I did.
Wow. I love that. Like, I love that it worked out so well for you. I think there are a lot of fears that can often hold us back a lot of times with that. It's scary outsourcing, and you have to tell them how you want it done. And, it's like an extension of yourself, and it can be hard to find that perfect fit. So I'm so glad that worked out really well for you.
So her sisters, they're not working for her anymore. They both got new jobs that they started this week. So it was definitely a one-time thing. But I literally picked all of my stuff up of what she had cut because I had already cut a good portion of it. I picked it up on Thursday, and then on Saturday is when things got crazy with the weather in Texas. So it really worked out having her do that for me this time.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That is just perfect timing for sure. Yeah. It always blew my mind that you literally cut things, sanded, stained, lettered. Like that is so much work. I mean, any of us who have done any kind of wood know that that takes time. You got to let everything dry. Like it's not just as simple as like cutting a piece of paper and writing on it. So do you have like standard sizes for cutting for your acrylic tags your wood tags, or how did you kind of come up with a streamlined way of doing that?
Golly, the sizes, it just came naturally, I think, with what I had on hand available at the time when the blogger asked me to make the Easter tags for her. Just figuring out what angles I would need to cut or how big it would need to be. The square tags, that dimension came just by, I hate to say scrap, but it was, it was just what I had left over after making something else. And that's the same thing with the shelfies. Like those dimensions that I've even used this whole time, like those came from scrap pieces of what I had on hand. And my friend that did the cutting for me this time around, I get over there and I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do. Like, this is the size that you do it. And she's like, okay, well, what about for this cut? I'm like, okay, it's just like right here. And she's like, okay, well, like 1/8 of an inch or like 1/4 of an inch. Like she knows measurements because she's doing all this cabinet building. And I'm like, I don't know. I just like on my saw, like I just have this little Sharpie line, but it's like right here. And she just looks at me like, are you for real? It's just like, it's this size. So I just always have done the same sizes based on the Sharpie line. And she's got like it's like a heated and air conditioned, like this huge barn with this sand painting booth, like ventilated, like crazy amounts of this huge table saw that's like, as big as my kitchen island. And she's like, and I said, I really I hate to give this to you to do because I really enjoy this part of it. I just don't my hands can't take it all and there's just not enough time for me to do it. She's like, right, but you have this same stuff at your house. Like, no, girl, I have a table saw like that I don't even raise up all the way when I use. And my like chop saw sits on the ground. Like I sent her a picture of my little area and she's like, oh, girl, next time you just need to come to my shop. Like I'm literally doing this out of, 6 square feet in my garage, like not a workshop by any means.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was just cutting like board and batten stuff in our house this past weekend with our miter saw on the floor in the living room, So you make do. You do what you've got to do. But like the Sharpie line story, oh my God, if that's not the epitome of every creative, I don't know
what measurement. I'm like, I don't know.
It's right here.
It's this. She's like,
Sharpie
this
line.
what? I'm like, it's just that. It's just like this. She's like,
oh my gosh.
Oh wow. Could you leave that sample with us? Like, yeah, you're gonna use it as a pattern.
Yeah, she's like, I'll go out and actually measure this.
Let me send you the measurements. That way you have them.
You know what they actually are.
That is so funny. So, Miranda, your business strategy includes timed product drops instead of always having open inventory. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us why you decided to go that route?
Oh man, I hope you aren't disappointed. I think I told you this, Cami. Like
it's not disappointing. Trust me,
it just happened. So I always had everything open. Even when I first started doing the tags, or even when I first started with the baby boards, like it was just there. You could buy it whenever you want, and it worked for me. And that's how I always did it. I want to say that last Easter is when I finally was like, I have all these orders. And then this is the creative in me again. Like I have all these orders and I think I'm going to need to do like a couple a day to be able to ship them by the deadline. But I could stay up later that one night and do like, maybe I could do a couple more. But then the shipping starts getting sketchy, like what day am I going to need to have these all shipped by so that they make it in time for pictures beforehand and for the event? And I just knew that I couldn't keep taking the orders because then I wouldn't be able to ship the ones out, which ends up working for local friends and customers that I have because they just know that after that ship date, I may have a week that I could get their stuff done. But then it wasn't until I think like even Halloween last year, I opened super early, and not because I want to be Hobby Lobby and have Christmas stuff in the aisle, at Halloween, or because I want to be a season ahead. I just have to be. Because I have to have time to get everything made, and that like making everything to order, like I don't ever have set quantities unless it's on acrylic stuff. Like I just have it open and then you can order it. But it just kind of evolved out of necessity because I knew that I would have to cap orders at a certain point because I am just one person trying to get it all done. And I'm such a yes man. Like I really hate saying no. And that's the hardest part is that I did have to make it into holiday product drops because I knew I couldn't say yes to every order.
And so now you do drop a specific amount or you open it for a certain time?
No, I just let
the orders fill.
I just still open it for a certain time. Moving forward and thinking into maybe Halloween, I am probably going to have to set quantities on items. Mm-hmm. I've been just taking orders like, okay, if I have 6 weeks until like from drop date to when I need to have them shipped, like I think I could do this many orders, but then that's not even guaranteed at how many items. Like I might say that I'm taking 400 orders, but that could be upwards of 2,000 individual items to letter. And that's not even names. Like that might be if a shelfie has 3 words, then you have to think like, that's a lot of letters. So I've just kind of done it based on how many I know that I could ship out by a certain date. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. No, that's truly fascinating. That's not a disappointing answer by any means because I think so many creatives find that their business evolves in one way or another, sometimes in a way they didn't intend or plan. So that's like a very common story and theme.
It just it happened because it had to. And I've been trying to find ways to be able to offer things to people because there's so many I know there are so many disappointed customers. And I'm like, y'all, I'm not trying to set you up for failure. And then like, I had someone write me and say they felt like they were competing. They felt like a high school athlete competing in an Olympic sport. Trying to get something from and I'm like, I'm not trying to set you guys up for failure. Like, I would love to be able to take every order. So I tried to think of products that I could offer that didn't take such a toll on my hand or just on my time. So that's when I started doing the acrylic items. And then I found a manufacturer for shelfies, which I'm super excited about. And I may still take some custom orders here and there for shelfies because I know sometimes people want one with a name on it or whatever. But just finding a way to outsource anything that I can, I think is beneficial at this point. And I would suggest to any business, if there's something that you could do, or even just a product that you could add on to your portfolio of things that you offer, if you can find a product that fits with what you already offer, that you could have out for customers. Does that make sense? Like finding something that I could give to my customers to buy where they did have an opportunity to purchase. And then doing the little restocks in between, I think helps too. What I have found that's hard is that I can't find a platform that easily allows orders to be combined shipping. So with the restocks, that's something that I'm like, man, I hope this person isn't upset that they literally just bought something, on this one week. And then the next week I restocked a different item and they bought something on that. And then the next week I restocked a different item and they bought something on that. So I feel bad that I can't combine the shippings, but I really just I get it done and I let them dry. And as soon as they're dry, I ship them out.
Yeah. Honestly, if there's the demand there, I wouldn't overthink like the shipping part too much.
Because
people are willing to pay. People
Yeah.
are willing to pay. Clearly, there's demand for your product. So I wouldn't let that like tax you mentally too much. But I wanted to ask you, so it's funny that you're saying, that people are messaging you and being like, this is like competing in an Olympic sport, which you're like, that seems like a logical fallacy. But, I get where you're coming from. You're frustrated. So my mother-in-law was telling me that my mother-in-law shops from a lot of places that do drops, kind of like you do, Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
And she said sometimes she feels like she's like competing with bots. I know that sounds wild, but she legit says that she thinks that people have built systems in place to be able to like buy inventory from shops that are doing drops similar to yours. Do you ever get the inclination that might be happening? I know that that's like wild.
And
now we're crossing into like
mind-boggling
Westworld territory here where there's like androids involved and whatever. But
I've made it. I have made it if there are bots fighting for orders. I'm done. I'm there.
I wish there were bots buying my stuff.
Right?
That'd be great.
Hello. That's crazy. No, I don't think so. And so at Christmas, I had a lot of people order. And I told them to do it. Like I went on Instagram story and said, like, just go ahead and purchase and message me the names. Like if that lets you check out faster, that's fine. But then I found, and I felt bad because I feel bad for people, is that there are people who went in and, typed every name they needed, like bought 10 tags and like everything was right and they typed in the name. And then I told people to go in and buy as fast as they could and message me later. That added hours of work on my end of going into these messages and copying and pasting what they wanted their names to be and adding it into the orders. It was hours. I had to pay one of my younger girlfriends. She's in college. I paid her to sit there with me while I lettered orders, to open the Etsy messages, copy and paste into the orders. Like it was hours of work. So this time it was just like, there are people that are going in and adding all their own stuff and doing it. And so I said, like, if I really need you guys, and I guess not saying that they're bots, like that would be so rude for me to call my customers bots, but they're just like added to the cart as fast as they could to check out. And I didn't really feel like that's fair to the people who spent time adding stuff or to the people who didn't get a chance to order, because they went in as fast as they could and bought as many things as they could. So I don't think that there are computer programs buying stuff. And on my business, like everything is so personalized. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
everything's
Yeah.
so personalized. Like I don't think that people would buy, like that bots would buy to resell, or that bots would buy to, I don't know. Like why would they buy? But I don't think
Yeah.
that they could. Like it wouldn't make sense that that there would be a computer program doing that. In the same sense, though, that I did ask for my customers to not be bot-like in their purchases. Does that to not to
Yeah.
Y'all
I
better
need
act
you to,
like humans.
you need to
and
act
pick
like a
every
human
tractor in this
and
image.
add your name. Oh my gosh, or the crosswalk. Like, are you talking about the signal, like the light signal, or the lines on the road?
Yeah,
You
I'm
know
like,
what
wait a
it
minute.
Yes.
There's
like
like
the
an inch
crosswalk.
of this one in this
Yeah.
picture. So
We're gonna send you a new captcha.
yeah.
I guarantee overthinkers have the hardest time with those puzzles because I know I always do. I'm the
Like,
same
is
way.
that a palm tree? Is that one a palm tree?
There's a headlight of one car in this image. Do I click this for vehicles? Yeah.
Did you
No, it
say
was just
car or truck? I'm sorry.
it was just funny because she was telling me about this at Christmas about shops that do deal with that, and they then have their stuff resold on eBay for like
Ugh.
5 times the value or something
No.
insane. So I'm glad that that is like not happening
No.
to you. But, you know, that is interesting that you do have to kind of combat
I know.
the people having like feelings hurt, you know, and you're like, I don't know what to tell you, you know,
I know.
I'm so
hard.
See,
sorry.
Miranda,
It's
the
so
biggest problem in your business that I can see is that you're just too darn sweet, and that is going to get you in trouble.
It's hard.
I know, but I understand. Like, I have such a people pleaser mentality too, and I'm like, oh, just do this, and I'm like, oh, that just added on so much extra work for me. But I want to make my customers happy, and you know, I totally
I know,
understand
and it's
that.
so hard. It's just like the growth is hard. And I want to
Mhm.
say, like, I guess my term, because now I just keep catching myself saying it, is things got crazy. So the growth happened. But then at the same time, I want to say, like, I always think in my head, slow and steady wins the race. Like, this didn't happen overnight. Guys, my son, who I painted the first like board for, he's going to be 10 on his birthday. That milestone board that I made for him was his second birthday. It was 8 years ago. And
Wow.
I have been growing, like I have been putting in the work for 8 years of trying to figure things out and perfecting things. So, and you know, I guess that's a problem, is that you want to continue growing your Instagram, and I'll just refer to Instagram because that's where I focus. But you want to continue growing your social media presence. But then how do you increase? So the demand increases, but how do you simultaneously grow your product offering? You know what I mean? So it's like, now I've built this huge following and I want to be able to keep up with the demand. And that's been the struggle for me. And that was kind of what my goal for 2021 was, is how do I keep up with the demand so that I'm not creating this environment where I have too many customers that I can't please. Because if I can't please, if I can't please a certain percentage, then they're going to go somewhere else. You know, I've got to keep them happy, and I've got to find a way to be able to provide more goods for them to buy.
Right. Supply and demand. I mean, that like basic principle. So it sounds like one of your biggest challenge with drops is the people pleasing aspect, you know, or that people are like clamoring and you have to respond to these messages and organize details. Are there any other pieces that you have found are hard about that strategy, or that you're still kind of trying to figure out and work through?
You know, I think by offering a couple of different, like a variety of products has helped. I set up a new website, which I have been pleased with so far, through Shopify, and they allow newsletters. So like I did a Christmas pre-order in December. So it's just like, you don't want to lose momentum on things. And because my Christmas launch sold out so fast in October, like you could only imagine the messages every day, you know, from the date of my drop until after Christmas, because new posts are made on Instagram. So like new followers came and they're like, how do I purchase? So after Christmas, I think it was like December, or maybe it was December 23rd. I can't really remember the date. I just said, I'm going to do an open order for tags. Like, I know there will be time in the next year before Christmas that I have downtime. So I'm going to open a pre-order on tags, only the bigger size tags, so that they can at least have the opportunity to purchase. Because what I was seeing was happening is that people wanted to buy and they couldn't, there wasn't even a chance for them to buy. You know what I mean? Because this is months before Christmas in October that it sold out in like 8 hours. So I did this pre-order and they're for the big tags. Anyways, I had some green sitting around that wasn't cut for big tags. And I just thought, I'm going to send a newsletter, to these new subscribers on this new website of mine and offer like a very limited St. Patrick's Day drop. So I did. And I had a friend message me and was like, hey girl, like, congrats. Those are so cute. How do I order one? She's like, but then I also want to tell you that there's another company, an apparel company that sort of did the same thing and really got into hot water. That customers were upset that they missed out or didn't get a chance to buy something because they weren't signed up for emails. They felt like they shouldn't get penalized. I don't know if that's the right word. They shouldn't get penalized for not wanting to get emails, that they should have the same opportunity to buy. So it's like, golly, like,
oh my God.
I thought she was just telling, like, she wasn't
shenanigans.
I know. Like, I'm like, I didn't even know that. Like, I just thought, like, hey, thanks for being here on this new website and signing up for my emails. Like, here's a great opportunity. Like, I have a minute of downtime and I need to keep busy. So I'm going to make these like super simple initial green tags. And I guess where I'm going with it is that you're never going to be able to make everybody happy, and even when you think you're doing something great and like, this is a great way to say thank you. And that's what I said in the email. Like, this is just me saying thank you for signing up for my website. Like, I have these listed and I'm going to tell you guys about them before I announce it on Instagram or social media or whatever. I didn't even announce it on social media because by the time those subscribers saw the email, they were gone. So anyways, you're not going to be able to please everyone.
That is wild, Miranda.
Isn't that
crazy?
Is
wild. Like, how can you be mad at a company for using marketing and strategy in a good way? Like,
I don't know.
That is incentivizing people to be on your mailing list if they potentially can hear about things first. Like, this is
guys,
not
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to say, like, I have the best customers, like the
yes.
customers. And I haven't even had anybody personally tell me that they were upset. She was just telling me, like, just so, like, don't offer early shopping on a holiday to your email subscribers or whatever, like, just that it got someone else in hot water. So I really, like, the mean messages, like, they're not very often. And there is a way bigger percentage of people that are happy. And even people that are like, hey, I didn't get to purchase, but I'm so happy for you. Like, I have loved watching your company grow. So no, there are way more people that are nice, but just know that for every, 100 people that are happy, even if they didn't get the opportunity to buy, there might be that one. And I think that's been the hardest part for me, is not letting stuff like that get to me.
Yes.
Not letting them get to me, because I'm like, maybe they had a bad day. And maybe, like, missing that, like, maybe that was just the
cherry on top,
disgusting icing on the cake, like, that was it.
Sure. Yeah, no, that was more like, what I was saying was more commentary on, like, just the industry aspect, not your customers specifically, that your friend even felt like she had to say that to you, like, that she had to warn you about that like, businesses are getting in, like, hot water for just doing, like, what they think is a good marketing practice. Exactly. So, man, wow. Product drops. This is so intense.
I know. It is so intense. And I feel like too, Miranda, I feel like you're probably like, when you get, the 1 out of 100 messages be like, I didn't get to order. You're like, oh, it's just one more. I'll add it on. And like, if you don't set those boundaries for yourself, you just go down this whole rabbit hole of just all, before you know it, you've added on a whole other second product drop on accident.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to have some boundaries, but
yes.
Yeah, that gets hard. They play with my emotions.
They play with your emotions. I know. And didn't I think I saw on Instagram too, like, you did not only the December drop for basically next December, but another, like, Christmas pre-order, like, basically, like, Like your stuff
I
is
just
like
did that
a year
one.
out at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Isn't that
like, I
terrible?
remember seeing
No, I
something.
just did that one. And then people are like, well, when is this going to drop? So Easter, I'm trying to think. Okay. So Valentine's Day, I dropped on 1/1. But I'm like, golly, like I should have opened it up even earlier.
Right,
I
like
don't want
early
to make people
December.
mad. Like I don't, but like, okay, so then I'm like, all right, like it's cool. I got this. Like I'm going to send out Valentine's Day and then I'm going to do Easter on February 15th, like the day after. But then it's like I finished Valentine's orders and I had these a week and a half or whatever where I'm like piddling my finger. And because I make everything to order, like I don't have quantity caps. I'm literally, it's not like I could be prepping a whole lot before because I don't want to make, way too many of one item that maybe isn't going to sell out. So it's like I'm sitting here with these couple of weeks of idle time, like, golly, I should have opened up even earlier because then I could make more people happy. Like I could take more orders, everyone will be happy. But then it's this fine line of, am I going to make people happy or am I like rushing people through the current holiday and like already trying to make them think about the next? I do not want to be Hobby Lobby. Okay. When I walk into Hobby Lobby and it's not even Halloween and they have Christmas stuff out, I'm irritated. And I don't want to do that to my customers. So it's like this weird fine line of trying to figure out like what's the best timing. But with all that, honestly, there were years that I didn't, so I would say for someone starting out, like there were years where I took orders whenever.
Yes.
I don't know that you could necessarily build a business by saying, I'm going to do these specific product drops and they're going to be so successful that my year of work, because this is what I do for a living, like my year of work, I'm going to be able to pay my bills every month by doing these specific holiday drops. Like there was a long time when I didn't do that. I just had to take orders, any kind of custom orders. Like I had to take orders for whatever, whenever.
Yeah. So I think a lot of this came from the years of growing and building your audience and then basically training your audience to stay engaged for these drops and getting them like prepped and be like, hey, this is how it works if you want to order from me. It's a little bit different than, the typical just go to the store and buy it whenever you want. So how are you communicating with your customers and kind of like building up to that product drop strategy? How did you decide to like start communicating with them and like setting the times?
Golly, I'm such a procrastinator, and I can't remember where I was reading. Do y'all follow Amy Lou Hawthorne, the Everco?
I don't think
so. I do.
Okay, well, you'll have to follow her. But I read a post of hers not that long ago that was about procrastinators, and like I had never, for me, procrastinating, like that might be one of my, what's the word? Like a negative for me. Like like this is bad. Like I'm a procrastinator and that sucks. But then I was reading that like procrastinators are creative, like a lot of times creative people, because what you could do in that short amount of time, like the creativity that's there could outweigh had you planned it far in advance. So there are a lot of times that I'm like, okay, so Valentine's Day, for example, like, okay, I'm dropping Valentine's on 1/1. Like I'm having all Christmas orders out by 12/5. I'm going to have a couple of weeks to like let my hand dress. That was the holiday where I was like, couldn't even hold the pen at the end. Like I did all that sanding. So I'm like, I need a rest. But so I had a month. Like I had a month to be able to get all this Valentine's Day stuff together. I'm opening my camera roll while I'm talking. Like I had a month to get all my stuff together, get all the photos taken, like do all that. Like tell me why was I taking pictures for my 1/1 drop on 12/29?
See, that
like
is so
I
me,
put it
Miranda.
off that long. Like I put it off that long. Like no, we can't do that. We've got to plan. So trying to plan ahead. I think for me, being able to post pictures from the previous year to tease, you know what I mean? Or to show examples, or maybe even on my highlight reel on Instagram, being able to keep that one highlight open from the previous year holiday. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was December 30th. On December 30th, I was taking the listing photos. December 30th.
I love it.
That's unacceptable. Like I need to be planning way before that. So being able to have those highlight reels to show how to use it. But then I tried not to post in my feed before the holiday. You know what I mean? Like trying to keep my feed holiday specific, but then posting sneak peeks or inspiration and my stories. And I had asked about that one time. like in a stories poll, I think. And that's what the people wanted. That was a suggestion from a lot, was like, let's keep the feed holiday focused and then maybe keep stories for sneak peeks. So I just try to do some story sneak peeks, maybe asking like polls, like, is there anything that you want to see on a shelfie? Is there any new colors that you want to see? Like just making sure that what I'm offering is what my customers want, but then also keeping them engaged, and keeping their eyes forward to the next holiday so that they could plan. And I think that's sort of what happens too, is what I see now, even with holiday pajamas, like Old Navy or Gap or whatever, like they sell out really fast too. So I was going to say, I think that's what happens whenever you shop small, is that you just have to know that you've got to shop early.
Yeah.
And you've got to plan ahead. But then it's even with big stores, like with kids' holiday pajamas, like those sell early too. So I think if we can just keep our audience, I don't want to rush the magic of these holidays, and I don't want moms to feel burnt out on Valentine's Day before Christmas. But I do need to keep reminding them, like, this is a small business, so you're going to have to plan ahead and be ready to shop, or else you do miss the opportunity.
It's always that like catch-22 and irony that we live in an Amazon world where everything is like 2-day Prime, and then you've got to reel people back in and be like, no, like we here at Chalk Designs by Me do not have our own shipping infrastructure.
Right.
We are a small business. We do everything by hand. This is like weeks long of a process.
Oh, and I love Amazon Prime.
Right.
I love it.
We all do.
So with the winter weather, we had a hot water heater bust. So we have been at my parents' house for the last 3 weeks, and I'm sure my stepdad is like, "What? Like, why is there another Amazon? Like, what is she buying on Amazon?" Because it said my mom's name first. He's like, "I wonder what she got today." I'm like, "Oh, that's mine."
That's my daily
Amazon books. Like the girls needed some coloring books. So no, I love Amazon Prime. So it's like, in an Amazon world where we're used to this 2-day shipping and being able to have these things at our fingertips, or even grocery store pickup or whatever, like small businesses need weeks to prepare and to be able to ship.
I know, but then like that whole scarcity mindset with your customers and like, oh, I got to be ready for the next one. Like, I feel like it keeps them so excited and like watching your every move. So they're like always going to check your stories and your posts to be like, okay, when's the next drop coming? Because they don't know, and they have to be ready. Otherwise it truly will sell out. So I love that it's just kind of like this goes hand in hand with keeping your customers like you're always top of mind because you're doing these drops. But at the same time, it's just like, stressful.
And I don't want to stress people out, So that's the part of it that's hard. And maybe it's the people pleasing of me. Like, I don't want to make people be stressed out.
I know, but it is a good strategy as well. I mean, you can plan your year a little better, I think, if you're like, okay, this is when this is happening, so I know I'm going to need like 4 weeks here to work. So for other people in our audience who might want to start utilizing this type of strategy, do you have any tips on how they can kind of get started into doing product drops?
I would like make sure, number one, that you have the customers. So I would, and then I would maybe like do the math and figure out how many items that you could make per holiday. And then just based on your personal calendar, how long you need per item to make, like, because for everyone, it may be different. I know that for me, I know how many orders I can take. I know is like, what's the average number in order, so it is a lot of math. So just knowing how long it takes you, like what's your limit, I guess, being able to set your personal boundaries, your personal work boundaries on knowing what you're capable of and being able to set that date right and being able to advertise for it. I don't even know if that helps. Like, is that common sense, or does that even help? But I think you just have to think of the numbers first and think of what you're capable, like figure out what you're capable of, and then be able to convey that to your customers, whether it's on Instagram or however you market to your customers, an email list of just saying, this is the date, and you don't have to close it you don't have to close it in an hour or 2 hours or in 2 days. Like if you say, this is when the product drop is and this is when it's closing, I think it lets people know like, hey, I need to get on there and purchase or else I'm going to miss the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, not that it places a sense of urgency because, like I said, I would never suggest like make your customers be super stressed out. That way they'll buy your stuff. But it kind of places that sense of urgency like, okay, like I need to buy it. You know, these are the couple of days that I have to buy it because if I don't, then I won't get the chance.
Yeah. Urgency is possibly one of like the very best sales tools that you can use, which is why when people do online courses or things like that, they tend to be closed launches, quote unquote, or they tend to have a deadline on them because they want to get students in, as many students in as they can, and then serve those people super well. And the urgency definitely helps with that. So remind me again, so you don't necessarily have inventory levels set per product. It's you're opening up the product drop for a week and just taking as much as you can.
Yes. So in the past, yes, that's what I've done. I have a couple of things, like most of my acrylic stuff. I don't want to do pre-order. So I guess you could call like any of what I have done as pre-orders. You know what I mean? Because I'm having the orders open and then closing the order and then calculating what was sold and then making it. So I guess you would call that a pre-order. On the acrylic stuff is the only stuff that I set quantities on because I don't want to oversell something and then a machine malfunction and me have to refund. You know what I mean? And me have to refund all that because I trust my hand way more than I trust a machine. Which is like, that's kind of weird. Like I say that out loud, like, what if I needed surgery? What if I broke my hand doing something with my kids? I don't know. But I know what my hand is capable of. And I feel like when you need technology, like when you really need to get on that WebEx, whatever, or like Google Hangout, like that's when it's going to malfunction. I feel like sometimes when we need technology is whenever it crashes out, you know? So I set quantities on stuff that's already made, like the acrylic stuff. But then on everything else, I kind of do it like a pre-order.
Okay. Yeah,
so this is so funny because I feel like in my mind I would do it opposite. I'd be like, I trust the machine more than I trust my hand. So I would have like higher. But I love that you said that too because you're like, no, I'm the maker. I know what I'm doing. I can like take control of this more than this. Well,
and I feel like people would be way more understanding if I was like, hey y'all, like I broke my hand on the trampoline this weekend. Like I'm gonna have to refund your money. Versus if I'm like, hey y'all, my machine's
not working. Yeah,
my machine broke. So here's your money back. Good luck. You know?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So first of all, this is just like so insane. And I feel like your life is bananas, but pretty much all of your stuff is personalized. So how are you staying organized with that personalization aspect? Like before you kind of mentioned you were having customers DM you names, which obviously wasn't working. So have you figured out a better strategy now? I know.
I told him to do it. And then I was just like, oh man.
You're like, oh, darn it.
So for this one, I mean, there are times when someone's like, I forgot a kid. Like I
was going to say, I'm sure that happens.
All my kids, like my poor child, like please don't put that in the invoice. Like customer forgot name, add name. So there are times when someone emails and it's really no big deal to add it in. It was just that many where I told them to do that was like, this is crazy. I can't do that again. But I just have a tab on there for personalization. So they type in their name. And I had to put case sensitive because, you know, I feel like anywhere, like if I got on Pottery Barn and ordered a backpack and I typed it in all lowercase, like that's how it would come, right? Like it would come monogram typed like that. So I just had to put it on there, case sensitive. Please type the name exactly, you know, exactly as you need it. If I come to one where I'm like, I think maybe this name is it's not like a cute like spin on a spelling of a name, but like a legit, like I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be Joseph and it says Boseph, like I'll message them and say, wanted to double check with you, like should this name have been Joseph with a J, not a B? But pretty much having the drop down menus and then having the personalization has helped a lot. Oh, because even on Etsy, like I had to say, like, I can't remember how it was, but it was like if it's this, you know, if you're selecting this, like, please send me a message and tell me. Oh, it was the lettering style because it would only let you put in so many variables on those Etsy listings. So then it was like, please message me and let me know if you want script or print lettering. And then some message, but then it was going in and adding that. But then I was having to message people too, like, hey girl, thanks for your order. Did you want script lettering or print lettering? So switching, and that's why I went from Etsy to Shopify, is I felt like there were more options for me, more variables to be able to make the personalization. So I was able to add that in. Like, it's a drop down feature that they had to select it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So if there's a platform that allows the personalization, that allows your customer, or that makes your customer enter all their choices in to cut down on that email time, I think that's helpful.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you can just make it as streamlined as possible with personalization. And you have customers choose like colors and stuff too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I'm stressed out right now.
No, it's fun.
I love it. Yeah, it's really cool. It's just like really cool to see your business and like watch you do all the drops and how quickly it sells out. I'm just like, that is awesome. So yeah. So I guess like a final question would be, what type of business owner do you think could really benefit from doing like a product drop method? And like, I guess we kind of already asked about tips for how to like implement the strategy, but if you have any other like last minute words of wisdom, that would be great.
Maybe like seasonal, like anybody who offers something seasonal. I know Event Tide Pennant Co. I don't know if you guys are following her on Instagram. She's awesome. And I feel like I connect with her because what we offer is so similar, but it's easy to cheer each other on because it's also different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Doing the names on the pennants. So she's had to, on one of her font styles, she's had to do drops too, just because she's also the one cutting all the letters to put them on those pennants. But I think anybody offering anything seasonal, that would be helpful. Doing the drops lets you have set ship dates. And I'm trying to think who else maybe. Seasonal, anything like personalized, but I don't know. I guess maybe just seasonal.
I feel like
shops.
seasonal just gives you like a built-in launch schedule for drops, you know? Like
It's
you already
more,
just have like
natural.
It's a very natural flow to be like, oh, Valentine's Day is coming up. Now we're going to do this. Like, and it just gives you like a reason to buy. Like people are purchasing decor for these holidays. So you already have like a built-in purpose and like something to work off of. It just like makes it a lot easier to do that. Like, I mean, I just introduced the party pennants to my line, which is like newer, and they're definitely like becoming a seasonal thing.
Tammy, can we talk about those
Oh my gosh.
I think that's when I saw yours. So pretty. Like,
so
pretty. So
well,
pretty.
I was like inspired by you because I was like, okay, listen, on my lucky party pennant, I'm just going to try it as a drop, even though it's not really like I could make as many, but I was like, I'm just going to see and be like, I'm dropping this. It opens up because I just wanted to like see what the strategy was like. And it did work out really well. I was like, oh, cool. Like that definitely got people purchasing really quickly. But then I was like, I could still sell more. And now I feel weird because I just like told people it was a drop.
So just do a restock, you know?
That's what I did.
Okay, cool. So I think that works, being able to do it like that. It's so pretty. Like I love them so much. So the first one that I saw of yours was the XOXO with that red background, was so pretty.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
And then the lucky, but yeah, I think so you're seasonal with those. But even if you do a restock, you know, I think if you set that one drop, and then also I think it helps you as a business owner to not overproduce.
Yeah.
And that's an advantage of doing the product drop, is that there's no, like, I don't think anyone's going to be mad that you do a restock of it, you know? So you do that initial drop, and then it lets you get those feelers out, because you could do a poll on Instagram all day, like, who's going to buy this? And, 700 people say they're going to buy. But when it comes down to buying, like, how many are you really going to sell? So by doing that product drop, it lets you get your feelers out for how many really are going to sell. And then it like puts the notion in your head, like, okay, the demand is there. So am I capable of making more for a restock?
Yeah, for sure. I had the same like people pleaser problem because people were like, oh, it's sold out. And I was like, well, I'll just go add a couple more. So you can technically go get it. Like, I don't know. So I didn't do a very good job of like actually selling out of them. And then I just kind of like used the restock as like an excuse to like re-promote it again and be like, restock. And everyone was like, yay, even though they technically could have gone and got them.
But plus, plus if you send that first wave out, then you're getting pictures, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
People start posting their happy mail and you're getting pictures of them. And I think that helps with the restock. So yes, I think that helps too.
Mm-hmm. That has really snowballed too, like people sharing pictures seasonally. And it's like, well, you kind of want to have a second wave because now people are seeing it and they're like, oh, I want to get one too. So it's like kind of makes sense. It's like free marketing or paid marketing, I guess, because they're buying it from you. So, oh man. But yeah, definitely an interesting strategy. So I want to like start trying to do it with a few limited things where I'm like, I don't want to carry this all year. You know, like the lucky pennant, I probably don't want to keep that up in my shop all year. So maybe just doing that.
Yeah.
And just trying to think ahead for things like that. So you inspired me so much, Miranda.
Yay.
But yeah, I think we've covered everything. I mean, this is just like so fascinating and a really cool way of running your business. So I know our audience is going to be super interested to hear all this. And can you just let them know where they can find you?
Yes. Okay. It's www.chalkdesignsbyme.com. There's a website there. I always post stuff on Instagram. So like I said before, sneak peeks for the next season on Instagram stories, which then I highlight, and then also just in my feed. And sign up for my newsletter.
Yeah, clearly.
Sign up for the newsletter.
So we don't miss out.
Secret drops.
Honestly, though, I mean, I'm just going to say it. Keep utilizing that email newsletter and keep using it to your advantage for your business strategy, because if you have a little pop-up on your site that's like, be the first to know
secret
about
drops. I mean,
secret exactly.
Drop is like the best word ever. I'm like all about that. Like I'm already excited about
until I get 34,000 people sign up for my email, and then I'm gonna have to figure out something.
And then you get 34,000 orders.
My text messages.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah, it's been a pleasure having you, Miranda. I've learned a ton about a method like I'm not super familiar with. I know our audience is absolutely going to love it. So your Instagram handle is exactly the same, Chalk Designs by Me, as it is for your website, right?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. All right, everyone. That kind of wraps up our episode today. If you have loved listening, please take some time to leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. It would mean the world to us, and it helps other creative people find us as well. And then if you have any questions, you can go to bizbirthdaybash.com, scroll down to that footer and click Q and Cake, because we do have every 5th episode as a designated Q and Cake episode where we answer your questions from our audience. So we would love to hear from you and what you're curious about. I think that pretty much wraps it up. So Miranda, once again, so happy to have you here today. And everyone, we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey guys, we just wanted to hop in and talk about one of our amazing resources, the A to Z directory. All of us have thought at some point, how did she do that, or how did she make that? And maybe you don't know where to start or how the heck to produce this amazing product you've dreamt up.
Well, the A to Z directory is the missing puzzle piece in your biz, you guys. Seriously. So it's built in the form of a yearly membership, and it's your one-stop shop for finding suppliers and vendors for all the things. Literally where to print everything from custom invitations, greeting cards, mugs, koozies, acrylic printing, letterpress, custom ribbon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it literally goes from A to Z. From acrylic printers to zipper pouches, we have it in the A to Z directory.
We want to help all of you search less and create more with this list of 300 plus vendors and suppliers. Don't worry, they're very organized. It's not going to be overwhelming and confusing when you join. And this membership also includes access to a private Facebook community. It's incredibly active and involved. And if you need a question answered fast, that is definitely the place to go.
Yeah, our Facebook group really is the best. You guys, everyone is so helpful in there. And we're in there too, answering questions you guys might have. So it's a great way to get access to us and ask us things without sliding into our DMs. So we're more likely to answer you in the Facebook group, just saying. Anyway, also in the Facebook group, this is new for 2020 and we're really excited about it. We are hosting monthly Power Hour Q&A sessions that are live, and these are only available to our A to Z directory members. So you can hop in with us live and ask us all your burning questions in real time and just hang out with us every month. And we do these at different times so you can actually be there live, and the replays are always available in the Facebook group for members.
This resource is priced at $147 a year, which honestly is extremely affordable and is full of so many benefits, such as exclusive vendor coupons for members only. And we would love to have you guys join. Seriously, it's kind of like our family and our tribe. So visit bizbirthdaybash.com/directory to sign up today and use coupon code podcast2020 to receive $20 off your first year. That's podcast, all caps, 2020 for $20 off your first year.
We can't wait to see you in the Facebook group.